small change. You want to explain to us what's going on with honeybees?
Yes, sir. So what we're doing, we're amending the zoning district requirement to a land size requirement. So what that basically means is it was a R100 zoning was required for bees. Now it is the land size of a R100 lot to be required for bees, because we've ran into a couple issues with individuals wanting to keep bees on their property. They have like an acre lot. It's zoned R65. They're not able to do it without going through the rezoning process. So what we're doing is we are changing it to a land size requirement. So they have to meet the land size requirement for R100. And just to kind of give a basis of what R100 lot size is it's 14,000 square feet. That's how big it is, and that's how big any lot who wants to keep bees would have to be underneath the change. We amended section O from body of water to swimming pool. The reason why we did that was because you're not wanting to keep the bees from going to a natural water source. You're wanting to keep them from swarming to people's swimming pools, and so that's the reason why we changed. It to swimming pools from a body of water. We did add a section R, and just to read it verbatim, it says change of land use. If a beekeeper intends to change the use of land where an apiary is currently located, the new lot must meet the requirements as specified in section E and F of those ordinance. Failure to do so will result in revocation of the conditional use approval from the Board of Adjustments. Just basically means that if you have a big lot, you get approval to have honeybees on it, and you decide you want to go subdivide it, and you subdivide it below the land size requirement, you no longer can keep bees on that piece of property. So that's the only changes to it.
So really we're just kind of fixing some language,
yes,
some unintended consequences of our original language.
Yes, sir. That's all we're doing.
All right. Any questions on that? All right. Again, this will be introduced tonight, lay over till July 5th. Right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next item is to amend the budget to purchase fire engine. Chief, you want to come talk to us about your fire engine?
We were hoping to be able to, but you guys were aware of this, purchase next year after the fiscal year. Unfortunately, because of the shortages, we're facing the same thing everybody else has. So even if we were to have purchased June 1, we would be looking at 18 months. That is not getting any better. I talked to Jonathan. He told me that this was a good time to bring this up. In the meantime, I communicated with Sunbelt, which is our dealer, who had, at the beginning of the price hike, made a purchase of about 11 engines, 2 of which work for us. All right, they're not the same. Captain James, myself, and the people from Sunbelt have worked. They worked really hard this last week, cutting everything that can be cut. And the numbers, I know I have approximate in there. I apologize. We didn't have them when we sent this out. If we were to get the exact same engine that we utilize now, it'll take 18 months plus and cost $731,427.
So 100,000. So 100,000 more than this number.
Correct. This one will be $628,326. So that'll be $103,101 difference. And we will be able to, because this one is already on, it's already being worked on. We'll be able to take possession of it in February of next year.
So we're amending this year's budget, but in reality, it's not going to, the money won't be expended this year.
Leanne explained that it would create an encumbrance, but it's going to create an encumbrance whether we end up being paid in 2024 if it takes the 18 months or in February of 23. Yes, the source of funds, obviously the fire fee has its own account. We do have currently enough money to cover the cost of this, even if it came due now.
In the fire tax account.
That's correct.
Leanne, did you have something? Any questions? This money we were already planning on spending. We just need to give you permission to do it a little sooner. And saves us $100,000. All right. Authorization to enter into contracts. So this is something we bid out. Southern Earth Sciences came back with $650 for asbestos construction. This is for our CDBG grant. Pretty straightforward, Barry, right? Basically, any questions on this? So we're just giving Barry.
There was a tremendous difference between the two bids that were turned in. Is there any thoughts there?
Yeah. So the low bid that's recommended by David Ewing with that actually seeked the bids and got it back. He said that's the exact same price we paid for the last CDBG project that we did. That's $650 per, I believe, was the number that was there.
$1,420.
It was, and so that was the next highest. We did send it out. And we sent it out to 6 different people, and we received those bids. And why the difference? It has to do with location typically. And when we try to put together a group of homes or dwellings to take down, we told them to plan on 4 to 8 when they come, so they can come knock them all out and go back. Some of these people are out of Mobile, other areas not in the region, but you have to go where the expertise is to do asbestos testing. So as for why, I guess that's the cost for them doing business and enterprise for doing this type of work. But that is in line, and it's the exact same figure, from what I understand, is what we did its last CBG demo grant. And I'll give you an update too on that in a few minutes in a work session.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions on CDBG asbestos testing? Chief Davis, you want to tell us about your fire department trailer?
As we had mentioned previously, the safety house that we utilize in the school system, we also use it as a command center. You've probably seen it at the car sale, for example. We have replaced all the wood that is possible. This request was made for this fiscal year, and we simply want to request bids. Barry has already been provided with the details that we're wanting, and then once we get it, personnel in-house will be doing the modifications to be able to make it work for the children's safety house, pumping in the smoke, and an interior door that's removable so that they can use the back of their hand to get out.
Okay. Any questions on that? All right. Thank you, Chief. Then we've got 2 ABC license requests that we'll lay over for the next meeting. That's the Brick and Levels Bar and Grill. Then we've got our water board appointments, seat 1. That was the one that I was nominating Andy Shelton for. Seat 4, Scotty, I believe that was yours.
John Mitchell.
All right, Mr. John Mitchell. And then seat 5 was Sonia.
Mr. Anthony Gregg.
Sonia. Okay, on seat 1, Greg, would you mind officially making that nomination since I'm the chair of the meeting? It's Andy Shelton. Okay, approved nomination to the Healthcare Authority. So this is I don't know if it's the only board like this, but Healthcare Authority presents us with a nomination, and we either approve it or we don't. We don't make those nominations. So they have brought to us James H. Tarbox to begin serving. Well, looks like the term actually has already begun for 6 years or 5 years. Any discussion on that? Okay, then we'll go into mayor's comments and council members' comments. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? All right, then we will adopt it as submitted, unless something comes up between now and then. Back to our work session agenda. Jonathan, Trent, okay.
Agenda here that I'll pass out. It's just adding one executive session item
to the work session.
To the work session. Then you requested
Okay.
your name and character.
Okay. Gotcha.
So, Mayor, members of the council, a few months ago, we discussed some economic development priorities for the administration. One of those being, developing the southern part of the bypass. And as we've gone on and had, different companies look at the southern part of the bypass, and some of them already under construction now, other projects like our PV Park project that are under construction now. One of the things that came out of that a lot of the retailers and other people, hotels, other people that are looking at doing business on that part of the bypass said, hey, at night, it's really dark over here. And so I came maybe 4 council meetings ago, and we talked about, would you like me to go forward and investigate what it would look like if we were to light up the southern bypass, what our options would be. And so I reached out to our friends at Alabama Power, and they came up with a solution in this, and I think I presented that all to you via email. But it looked like 72 lights along the southern bypass from AL 167 South to AL 27 South, at a cost of somewhere just shy of $800,000, $794,000 and some change, and a monthly cost of about $1,412 a month on a 5-year lease. And so with that, I've brought our friends from the power company here. I think Trent Dillard, and then from the lighting division, DJ Taylor here, and I'd like to invite them up, and maybe I've got a graphic. Barry, do you have that loaded? That we can show you, and kind of they can discuss kind of how this came about, what it does, how the process works, and answer any questions you might have.
All right. Thank you, Jonathan. We appreciate the opportunity just to make this proposal for you. As Jonathan said, we look. One of the things with economic development, and the developers are looking to make sure that it is lighted sufficiently. A lot of times we forget about that. We know that we're trying to develop that side of town, and we just kind of drive into it. But for those that are coming from out of town, they see how dark it is. So we feel like this will be the first step in trying to go ahead and light that corridor up, and would give the opportunity for retailers to really see what we can continue to develop over there. We've started to make some stabs at it now. Of course, with Mitchell's development and others that have gone out there, and with the school. But I brought with me DJ Taylor, who is our lighting specialist, and he's the guru that came up with all of this. So he's going to kind of go over what you see, and of course I know that you've had a chance to look at it, but we're here to answer any questions y'all may have. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, so Alabama Power has been partnering with municipalities across the state, definitely trying to improve the drivability at night for the citizens. A couple weeks ago, Trent, Jonathan, they came to me and mentioned this project in particular. We've had similar projects of this nature, so I wanted to discuss with you guys today the photometric study that we pulled that we'll have to partner with ALDOT on. So as you can see here on the screen, we have roughly 72 lights, about split half on both sides of the road there. ALDOT requires us to submit a permit, so we have to get all this data gathered in the beginning. So it will be a process where we will have to work with ALDOT as well. Jonathan mentioned the cost, and of course, I can field any questions, whenever we get to that point. But this is what it looks like. It has the luminaire schedule. It also presents the foot candles on the road as well. So all of this will meet ALDOT's requirement as far as drivability at night. They have not approved lighting in the past, but this particular project here, it meets their requirements, so we won't have any issues there. As Jonathan mentioned, the upfront cost is $794,000 and some change. That requires paying for the poles and fixtures up front, and also the boring that will need to take place. So that will be the upfront cost. Also, we have an additional option where you guys can split that payment. I actually just got that approved yesterday, where you can pay the first half up front, and then the second half a year later after we finish the install. The only thing about that is there will be a 6% interest charge on that monthly service charge of roughly $1,400. So it'll be a 6% add-on to that. But as far as, I'm sorry, until it's paid. Yeah. But we will start the billing on that once we finish the install. So I'm thinking roughly 3 months of 6% interest. Then after that, we should be good to go. But that's pretty much the overall view of the project in general. Jonathan did a great job of explaining the monthly costs and what that upfront cost may be. So if you guys had any questions, feel free to let me know.
So one of y'all mentioned a lease. Jonathan, maybe what part of this is a lease? I mean, we own the equipment, right? So it's an upfront charge. The only monthly fee would be the power. Then if something goes, when the fixtures need replacing, we're responsible for that, or y'all are responsible for it?
Who maintains them?
Yes, great question. So with us installing fixtures, it'll be Alabama Power maintained fixtures.
Okay.
So you guys will pay that maintenance fee.
So the $1,400 covers the power and
Yes.
maintenance.
Wiring,
Gotcha.
poles, fixtures.
Similar to what we have all over town.
Right.
Okay.
Same scenario.
It's almost an identical agreement that we had to do the northern part of the bypass.
Which that goes from utility trailer 84 around to 167 South. So this will continue that on around to 27 South.
So if you ever have any issues like that, you call us.
Yeah.
We'll take care of any type of maintenance.
Any technical questions? Not necessarily getting into whether you're in favor or not, but any questions of Alabama Power about cost, the way it's structured? Okay. Yeah. So what would the timeline be?
So working with ALDOT, it can be anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get an approval. As far as the fixtures coming in, I would say anywhere from 16 to 18 weeks to get all the infrastructure in that we need.
So do those run parallel, or is that?
We run it together. So
Okay.
ALDOT should be approved first, and then of course we'll have the fixtures come in. After that, we'll start to install 72 lights. They can run anywhere from 3 to 6 months. So we're looking at roughly 9 to 12 months for the full project to be complete.
And what do you need from us to move forward?
So basically what we do, in order for us to order the fixtures, we will need the upfront costs. I'm already currently working with ALDOT on that piece of it, but from the city, all we need is the signed agreement and the upfront cost.
So we would just need to authorize the mayor to execute an agreement and approve the expenses. Okay. All right. Any other questions for Alabama Power? All right. Scotty, what you think?
It's a great idea. We need to do it as quickly as we can and safely too. But no, that's going to be a big plus out in that side of town with all the business we're trying to drive that way, and the houses out that area too with the kids.
Greg? Okay.
They will be up above. Everything will be underground as far as the wiring. So you won't see any wires above. Yeah.
So be very consistent with what we've got.
Gotcha.
So probably.
Very consistent. That was one thing we tried to work with, DJ tried to work with. You would see a consistent look as you continue. So that'll all be underground. That's part of that upfront cost because there's got to be some boring done.
Yeah.
So we tried to do it the most cost effective way we could, but some areas, especially towards 167, gets a little bit dicey. But we've got some things that we can do.
All right. Greg, what are your thoughts?
Does this leave a portion of the bypass that's still not lighted, or is this completed?
From 27 South around to 84 on the west side, right? Would still be unlit. Yeah. So this will get all 4 lane. Gotcha.
So the rest of it's that deal you were talking about out there in the foyer, right? I'm all for it. I think we should move forward with it.
All right. Eugene, any additional thoughts?
No, thank you. I'm all
Sonia?
for it.
I'm for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think this, a stated goal of this council is to drive development around the south side of town. This is one thing that we know we're getting asked for by people who are thinking about development around there. So I think this goes right in line with our initiatives. Wish it wasn't so expensive, but this, it is what it is. All right, everybody's okay. We'll move forward. And Jonathan, just get us what we need to do to move forward.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys. All right, moving on or right on schedule for the city projects update from Barry.
Thank you, gentlemen. I've gotten a couple questions this week about schedules and projects, and I thought it'd be good if you give me a few minutes on work session to kind of run you through the capital projects that we have that we're currently working on, and kind of give you, here's our projection of where we are, and here's the next steps moving forward. So I have several slides, but I'll go through them pretty quick, and just stop me project by project. This is a quick list of the projects that we've got currently going on, and I'm not going to read them to you. We'll go through each one of those real quick. But you can see the list is fairly long. Paving project phase 2. If I can stand right here, if that'd be okay. All the paving is complete on paving project phase 2. We've got a preliminary punch list that Glenn's been working on with the contractor. We're going to have a final inspection be completed by the 1st of July. And then after that, I've given ourselves 60 days to have that project complete and wrapped up and complete. Moving on to paving project phase 3. Glenn's prepared a preliminary list of streets. We want to, by the end of the week, refine that list and make sure we have a good recommendation moving forward. That puts us at July 7th to start advertisements on that project and moving to a bid date into July, and then start a construction 1st of September. There's a little bit of cushion built in there that Glenn and I talked about just to make sure that we can accomplish those goals on phase 3. But that would put us starting the project in the end of third quarter for this year.
What do we think duration will be?
Well, the initial budgets that we're seeing are somewhere between $6 and $8 million for this project. So depending on the list, one of the things we'll look at is a constructability schedule of how do we get that stuff done. I would expect it to be a year from this time through maybe next summer before we get it finished.
It's going to be bigger.
It'll be twice the size of the one we just completed. And the roads, a lot of the roads are going to be smaller, and they're not going to be as long as the Freedom Drive and Port of Lunsford. So if we have a lot of shorter roads, it's going to take longer to get those roads constructed. So when we get ready to go to bid, I'll give you an update about constructability time. Any questions on the paving project? We'll move on. The sidewalk replacement project. We have a contractor that we selected, I guess, a couple months back, 3 months back.
End of March.
And still no start date. I did get with them this week, and they've given us a start date on that project, which will be June 21st, which is roughly 2-3 weeks from now. They said it would take them 30 to 60 days to get the sidewalks finished. So I've given you a kind of an anticipated completion date of August, which would be right in the heart of the summer. So they picked the best time to be out there tearing up asphalt and concrete and putting it back down. But they'll be getting started, Mr. Eugene, in about 2 to 3 weeks. So we'll hold their feet to the fire and get it done. The Sidewalk Tap Grant, that was the project that the first project was the one that we were talking about, just replace with the sidewalks we have. This is the Tap Grant from last year that was basically from the bypass all the way back to Weeda Street. So that project, this is directly from the consultant schedule, but you can see we're going to bid end of this year, about November. They do have, because there's a lot of grant money tied to this, there's a lot of check the boxes. And I put them up there so you can kind of see what those boxes are they have to go through. It's a lot for a sidewalk project, but they do provide all the construction money. So that's what we're up against. Bid basically in January of next year, go into construction in February and construction complete in June. Sorry, May of next year. So that'll be an early construction 2023 project. The CDBG demo grant, tonight on the agenda, you've got the approval to move forward with the asbestos testing. We've got the first batch of houses complete. There's 7 houses that have been approved for demolition. So if you approve that tonight, we'll move forward because those houses have been approved. We'll get the testing people to come in and check them for hazardous materials. And that first batch of 7 houses will go out for bid here shortly thereafter. We've got 3 on the list that's turning applications for the second batch of houses. So if you remember, we had about 42 homes that we were projected to do demolition on. So about 25% of that done. So if you got people that have contacted you, or if anybody out there watching wants to have their home included in this project, just come to engineering. There's an application to fill out, and they'll walk you through the process of how to get that included.
Do these have to be residential structures?
So it can be, it's typically residential structures. It can be a trailer, but it can't, more than likely they're going to be homes, and they have to be abandoned residential structure.
So it can't be an old abandoned shop or store.
What we're told is for residential, the way the grant was written for residential.
Gotcha.
But if you've got one you'd like that you know of, send to us, and I don't mind asking the question and see if we can get it included. The rec center, you saw the consultant architect give you a presentation, kind of a quick walkthrough at 60%. 90% submittal will be in the next about a month out. So July 6th is when we'll see 90%. Understand 90% is 100% unreviewed. So that's complete plans done by all the different engineers, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, architecture, civil. All those things come to us as a complete plan. It gives us time between 90% submittal, and we've got a month to basically get comments back to the architect to make the changes and start advertising by August 1. That puts us a bid opening at September the 8th. Start construction. I put that number on there as November 1. I think that's reasonable. If we get decent bids and y'all approve the project, go forward, then we could start it sometime. Typically, it takes 6 weeks from the time that we accept and award the bids to the time they get their bonds in place and we start forward with construction. They'll want to lock these prices in as quick as they can after award because they're putting bid prices in on mechanical equipment, all those things, and they want to lock those prices in as quick as they can.
What about demo?
So demo, we have I don't have the date in front of me. We have Billy's here. We're having a decommissioning, 22nd of June, we'll have a decommissioning ceremony. And I'm moving forward to, you've given us approval to go ahead and get the asbestos removed out of that building. And as soon as they get through, we'll bring asbestos removal in, then we'll bring in public works. So we'll be ready by that timeline to have that building down and out of the way before November 1.
That includes the other structures that are coming out.
Yes, sir. It's the building, it's the pool building. There's like 5 structures around in that block, and the fencing, that green fencing that's around that project. All that will be removed. All the debris will be removed. When we get through, it'll be a nice graded site for the contractor. We'll even fill in the pool area and have that back to natural grade for them before they get started. That's part of the bid package. We didn't want to do anything on the demolition until we had a proper decommissioning ceremony for that building and to close out that chapter of its life to move on to the next one. City Hall renovations. Part of the reason for us pushing the schedule was my recommendation to do that. I wanted to push City Hall about 3 weeks after Rec Center. So the schedule that you see for City Hall reflects about a 3-week lag after the Rec Center. I thought that would give us the best bid prices that we could get and not having 2 bid openings stacking on top of each other. So you can see the schedule behind me, but basically start advertising late August and September 29th, a bid opening, and then begin construction right thereafter, sometime around that middle of November. And all that'll be pending what kind of prices we get and whether y'all decide to approve the project to move forward or not. Right now, the good news is talking to the architect. We have the same architect doing City Hall and Rec Center, and right now prices are holding from what we've seen in the last 3 to 6 months, so that's good. We got Main Street resurfacing. This is actually an ALDOT project. This is ALDOT schedule, but I want to make sure I got this to you and want to get the word out. They've broken this project into 3 different phases. The first phase starting in June 13th, which is next Monday, they're going to start Plaza from the circle inward, daytime hours. It will take them a week. So let me show you on the map. I thought that'd be the easiest way to show you. In the red section on the map, they're going to start Plaza from the circle, move in to the end, and stop. That'll be phase 1. That's daytime hours, Monday through Friday. Phase 2, they're going to start on 84 Main Street on the Dothan side by the Circle K, and it will be daytime as well from the bypass to about City Hall. So they'll start in this yellow section. They'll start here, come in about City Hall, and they'll stop on phase 2. At that point, the project, they will switch to nighttime, and that's when things are going to get interesting because it goes right down through Main Street. They're going to continue at City Hall, moving towards 84 to the north at nighttime. Sunday night through Thursday night, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And let me kind of give you a heads up of what the contractor has approved with AlDOT. They're going to start at City Hall. They're going to do the right lane, and they're going to start on one end, and they're going all the way to the other end. So they will mill, grind up the asphalt, put down new asphalt, and stripe it as a train of equipment going through till they get to the other end. When they get to the other end, they're going to turn around, and they're going to do the other side all the way back through. They said it'll take them about 2 weeks to get that third phase complete. When we get into the parking downtown, one of the challenges we're going to have is they're going to want to mill all of the parking places included when they do that pass through there, but they're not planning on putting that asphalt down till last. So when they mill the right-hand side, the first pass through, they're going to mill up the parking places. They're going to pave just the main lane where traffic is because it has to be opened back up again the next morning at 6 a.m. The parking places will not have stripes for about, I'm guessing, a week period.
And they won't have asphalt, or
it won't have asphalt. It'll be a milled surface for about a week's time. And I just asked the public to work with us. We're doing the best we can to get this project done as quick as we can. But the contractor believes 2 weeks period from the time they start nighttime construction, they can get all the way to the end, all the way back, and do the parking places as well along Main Street. We've given AlDOT a kind of a recommended parking plan for downtown through that area. It's very similar to what we have now. We did include like bump outs at all the major intersections. So we've lost one parking place at the corner, but now you have visibility when you make a turn to lose one parking place at those. And we're also making sure we have crosswalks at all the AlDOT traffic controlled intersections.
Will we provide some type of public, I guess, heads up about these drastic changes?
So one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to give it to the Main Street, the Main Street program, tourism, put it on our website, get it out there every way we can. And we'll just have to keep up with, this is the latest we're hearing from the contractor. It's not a city project. We have no control over the construction. We're just going to communicate with them and try to get that information out the best we can.
I assume they'll have message boards up on both ends of Main Street.
I assume so, but we'll work with them. We did come up with, in the department head meeting, we had a couple good questions that came up that I'll get resolved and get back out. But it's going to be, to be honest with you, it's going to be a challenge.
If for some reason they don't have message boards, do we have a way of doing that ourselves to get the public's information out there?
Well, they have message boards. I'm just going to get with them and make sure that we have the message out there. AlDOT has message boards. But we need to give the public as much notice, and that's one of the reasons I want to do this meeting tonight, to get it out there to people and to give y'all the knowledge of what they're anticipating as far as schedule. And like I said, we'll get out on our Facebook page. We'll get it on the city website. We'll get it out to Main Street program. The people that will be affected will be the business owners through there, because parking goes right to their front door. But we've got to get Main Street paved. So we'll do it the best we can. And Main Street from City Hall through downtown will be done at nighttime, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And of course, we'll have to have the cars off of Main Street before 6 p.m. and then working with the police department to get that.
And that's a great visual aid to put out too.
Sir?
That's a great visual aid for folks to actually see it when it's going to happen. I know Mariah will take care of that to all the downtown folks.
Yes, sir.
So will there be no traffic allowed on Main Street, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.?
The contractor requested that we shut down Main Street for the area they're going to be paving on Main Street from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. They're going to be moving milling
Both
equipment.
directions of traffic.
That's what they said originally. That's one of the questions that came up today in the department head meeting, was to refine if there's any way we could keep one side open while they're working on the other. I'm going to ask the question. Originally, they told us that they would like to shut that down because we got dump trucks with asphalt. We got a lot of things going on, but they also want to make sure that they keep those open. We've got the hospital that we need to work with. We've got several crossings that need to be available. There's a lot of coordination that we're currently working on with the contractor and AlDOT on this project. But currently, right now, their plan is to shut down Main Street for the section they're going to be working in from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
So it's not like the area in front of, if one particular business is going to be closed down for 2 weeks, that would probably only be one night. That section.
It'll be one night, and the next night, hopefully, if
Be
they're making
somewhere
good
else.
progress at nighttime, and that's one thing that nobody knows, is what kind of progress can they make in one night through that section, because it's more than just doing a road section. They got road section plus all the milling up in those parking places. It's going to be some work. Wiregrass Construction, which did our phase 2 paving project, got this project with AlDOT, so they're familiar with the city. We're familiar with working with them. So
I'd like to ask a question, Mariah. Could you make sure that Southern Broadway gets this? They start a show June 16th. Starts at 6 o'clock every evening to July 16th. So with Susan or Lydia, so they can tell their patrons early on, hey, park behind, come up Connors, one of those other streets.
And one thing we talked about today, and Mariah can speak more on this, but we're going to put out a partner progress. Here's approved parking areas. If you can't park on Main Street, here's some areas you can park. You can use the sidewalks. You can still get to these businesses, but at nighttime, to say you're not going to be able to park here, but you can park here. So we're going to do everything we can to open it up. And very timely that we got those 2 parking lots paved before this project. So I'm very thankful for that.
Okay.
Any other questions on Main Street? PV Park Sport Complex, we're breaking into 2 phases. Glenn's currently working on finishing up design. Bid the project basically late August, going to start construction, we think sometime in mid-October. Phase 2, which is the side that's on actually PV Park side. The first phase will be the one on the college side, but PV Park side phase 2, we're talking about doing that in-house with Public Works staff. And we're talking about doing that project start after the first of the year, sometime early 2023. The AlDOT roundabout, I'm not going to waste any time on this. We had a presentation from the consultant on this. I do want to remind you that we have a public involvement meeting on June the 9th at the Farmers Market, 5 to 7 p.m.
That's this Thursday.
That's this Thursday, 2 days from tonight. The schedules there are pending AlDOT approval as well. The VA home, I kept this one real short. We have a groundbreaking ceremony on the 17th of June. And then their projected grand opening is going to be late 2024. From my calendar, I saw was December 1st. And I gave you a copy of all those dates in a packet on your desk, so you'd have all those dates in the presentation. And I'll be glad to share those or answer any questions you've got.
Any questions on our project updates?
Thank you.
Thank you. Leanne, or Jonathan, what do we want to do here? We're running out of time. Do we want to do this during staff reports, or do we want to put it off? Or okay.
Christina's gonna pass this down. It's some information from the Retirement Systems of Alabama. Do you want to?
So a couple of work sessions ago, I had brought up the ERS retiree bonus, and I said that I would bring you guys back the amount that it would be if the council chose to pass that retiree bonus. We have those figures in. That figure for the city would be a cost of $60,734. There are 2 ways that can be paid if the council chooses to pass that retiree bonus. You can either pay it as a lump sum payment, and that would be paid out during this fiscal year. It would have to be adopted by resolution. There's a sample resolution in the handout that I've given you. It would have to be adopted by August 31st, so it would have to be voted on by at latest the second council meeting in August. And if it was paid in a one-time lump sum payment, it would be paid in the month of August with the resolution when we send it. The other option is to pay it through our rates in fiscal year 2024. By doing so, though, you would end up approximately paying roughly almost $19,000 more by doing it that way. So our recommendation would be that if the council chooses to pass this, would to do the lump sum payment. We've looked at the budget, Leanne and I have, and Leanne can explain that.
Yeah, obviously we didn't include this in our budgeting for last year. However, in reviewing this, normally when this has been done in the past, it's just paid straight out of the admin budget for retirement. The admin budget for retirement does not have this full amount in it, wiggle room. But when I look at the other departments that are all under the general fund, we are under budget, and projecting through the end of the year will be under budget on most of the departments. And I think that there's enough room there, more than enough room, to amend the budget towards the end of the year and move some of those budgeted funds from the other departments into the admin to cover that. So while admin specifically would be over for a little bit, it would be taken care of in the amendment at the end of the year, and we would still be about the same.
Okay. Any questions of that? All right. So we've got through August to act on this, through the second meeting in August to act on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we've got a request for a executive session to discuss good name and character. So I will predict this will take about 7 or 8 minutes, and we will not be discussing any business in the work session, but we will come back and convene in our open meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session regarding good name and character.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hard and short. did it when I opportune time we had a spare week. I apologize for my short. Thank you.
Sorry, I just wanted you to get up and stretch your leg a little bit.
It felt good though.
Yeah. Where's the rest of their short?
That's the shortest executive session we've ever had.
But I remember he did say he was going to start doing it just to follow the process.
Or you can have a couple more strikes. So three cuts. Skin was bald today.
You know, Miss Miss Jewel. You know Miss Jewel that live behind us. Miss Jewel, Calvin aunt. We went to see her about 2 weeks ago. We went down there. She in the rehab, and we went to see her.
I had that.
And what's the one when you turn on Honeysuckle? Right there on the right. He in Dothan too. He got children in Dothan.
I said, well, if you want to come listen to it.
So his kids had to get him.
Strictly way over.
It's not safe for him to be in your house by himself.
Yeah.
And he has already fallen.
I had people contact me.
Since he been in Dothan.
It's an extra.
He has fallen.
Now, whether there's going to be anybody that treatment.
Yeah.
That's Murray's mama.
It's not.
That's Murray's mama. And we.
You just taste all the love in the cookies. What do you think about that? Carrots, ice cream, I mean, the candy shop coming.
He told me he was going to do something down there. I tried to get him to sell him that building. He wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I thought he was just picking up stories. And I saw it.
Well, we've all been hearing the hard news for a long time about having a boarded up building, even though he was using the kitchen, but it looked vacant from the road. And so I went down there.
Building's that?
Where the
candy store,
Black Cat used to be.
Yes. She's still there. Jeffrey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got 6 o'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting of the Enterprise City Council to order. Let the record show that all members of the council are present. If you would, please stand with me for the prayer and pledge of allegiance. We have Pastor John McCrummon from Open Door Baptist Church here to lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you for this town that we have. I thank you, Father, for these men and women who are on this council. Thank you for the wisdom you give them. Father, I thank you for the protection that you've shown this city. Father, I pray that you'd help each one of us to be able to look out and see things around us. Father, I pray that we'd do everything we could to see people come to the Lord Jesus Christ. Father, have a change of heart. Thank you for your protection, for your watch care. And Father, I just pray for wisdom for each one of these men and women. I pray for this city would be a city of progress. I pray, Lord, that we would honor you and put you first. I pray that we'd honor your word, Father, in all that we say and do. And Father, I pray for many more great days ahead of us. And Father, I pray your direction will guide us in the path that you'd have us to go. Father, I thank you. The word says that when our ways are pleasing to you, you cause even our enemies to be at peace with us. So Father, I just pray. I pray for our nation. But Father, again, I thank you for the privilege of being in this city. Thank you for folks who love Jesus. And Father, honor him in all that we do. And Father, I just pray your protection and guide us as we go forth tonight. Give us wisdom, Father, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we see it. All right, Council, you have before you the agenda that we discussed in the work session prior, so I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now consider the consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the council for review, are considered to be routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the City Council with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request of a member of the City Council. I will now call for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Let the record note that I'll be abstaining because of a conflict with accounts payable B. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we now have a permit street closure request from Main Street Enterprise and DEBA Military Appreciation Event. You've got here at the time, details on the event. You should have the permit request in your packet. We've already approved this. Anything we need to know about the changes, Mariah?
Sure. So all we're doing is we will not be using East College anymore, so that's the change. And then we are using Railroad Street to do a patriotic parade. That's a shorter closure.
Okay.
That's all.
All right. Chief, anybody? We good? All right. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the request.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, this is part of the meeting for privilege of the floor, which allows anybody that is present here tonight to address the council for 3 minutes. I will point out that we do have one public hearing tonight, so that's the Severs rezone. So if you're here to discuss the Severs rezone, please come during that public hearing. The other public hearings on the agenda are actually just introductions of those public hearings. We won't be holding those tonight. So the proper time to discuss that would be in privilege of the floor. So is there anyone here to appear before the council tonight for privilege of the floor? All right, seeing no one, we will move on to staff reports. Staff, is there anyone here that wishes to address the council that was unable to in the work session? We good? All right, moving on to old business. So we will now have a public hearing consideration of ordinance 050322, which is the Severs rezone. I now call for a public hearing prior to consideration of ordinance 050322, providing for the rezone of 0.22 acres of land owned by Deborah Severs from B3 Highway Commercial District to R65 Residential District located at 204 North Watson Street. Is there anyone here to speak for or against this rezone? All right, seeing no one, we will now close the public hearing, and I'll entertain a motion to approve to adopt the ordinance 050322.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we now move on to new business. I'm going to introduce the Planning Commission recommendations. So I introduce for the record a recommendation from the Enterprise Planning Commission to approve the following requests. A request from North Star Engineering Services and M4 Development, LLC, on behalf of New Enterprise, LLC, for the annexation of zoning to R75A Residential District of 0.67 acres of land located off of County Road 711. A request of North Star Engineering Services and M4 Development, LLC, on behalf of New Enterprise, LLC, for the rezoning of 40.13 acres of land from R65 Residential District to R75A Residential District located off of County Road 711. A request of Boyd Engineering, LLC, on behalf of Kevin Axton for the rezoning of 14.19 acres of land from R75A Residential District to R65 Residential District located at 2550 Porter Lunsford Road. A request by the city engineer to amend the enterprise zoning ordinances to establish a zoning jurisdiction of the city to include the area lying within 2 miles of the boundary of Enterprise Municipal Airport. A request by the city engineer to amend Ordinance 100521 and the enterprise zoning ordinances to allow for the keeping of certain honeybees in certain zoning districts in the city of Enterprise. All right, those are introduced for the record. We'll now introduce Ordinance 060722, which is the annexation and zoning of New Enterprise, LLC. I introduce Ordinance 060722, providing for the annexation of zoning of 0.67 acres of land owned by New Enterprise, LLC, into the city limits and to establish zoning of R75A residential district. I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for July 5th, 2022. No action tonight. I'll introduce Ordinance 060722A. So I introduce Ordinance 060722A, providing for the rezone of 40.13 acres of land owned by New Enterprise, LLC, from R65 Residential District to R75A Residential District, located off of County Road 711. I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for July 5th, 2022. Again, no action tonight on that. I now introduce Ordinance 060722B, providing for the rezone of 14.19 acres of land owned by Kevin Axton from R75A Residential District to R65 Residential District, located at 2550 Porter Lunsford Road. Call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for July 5th, 2022. No action tonight. I'll introduce Ordinance 060722C, providing to amend the enterprise zoning ordinances to establish a zoning jurisdiction of the city to include the area lying within 2 miles of the boundary of the Enterprise Municipal Airport. I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for July 5th, 2022. No action tonight. I introduce Ordinance 060722D, providing to amend Ordinance 100521 and the enterprise zoning ordinances to allow for the keeping of certain honeybees in certain zoning districts in the city of Enterprise. I call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for July 5th, 2022. Again, no action tonight. We have a busy meeting planned for July 5th. So, one moment. All right, we now have a request to amend the budget and purchase a fire engine from the fire department. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from Fire Chief Christopher Davis to amend the FY 2022 budget to allow the purchase of a new fire engine from Sunbelt Fire Incorporated through the Houston Galveston Area Council, HGAC, at an approximate cost of $630,000. The vehicle was ordered by Sunbelt prior to the current price hike. Purchasing one of these engines with needed modifications will allow for delivery in early 2023 versus the current 18-month plus lead time and result in savings of approximately, this says $90,000, but Chief Davis notified us in the work session is actually closer to $103,000 for the city of Enterprise. So I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have a request for authorization to enter into a contract with Southeastern Sciences Incorporated for asbestos testing. So I introduce and call for consideration of a request from City Engineer Public Works Director Barry Mott to enter into a contract with Southern Earth Sciences Incorporated in the amount of $650 per structure for asbestos inspection and testing of all properties slated for demolition and clearance under the 2021 CDBG demolition project. All inspection and testing fees will be paid with CDBG grant funds. Other bids received are as follows: Environmental Material Consultants Incorporated for $1,420 per structure. I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the request to enter into this contract. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we have a request of permission to seek bids regarding a fire department trailer. I introduce and call for consideration of a request from Fire Chief Christopher Davis to seek bids on an 8.5 by 20 foot enclosed trailer that will be used as the new fire safety house and command center. Funds were allotted in the FY 2022 budget to allow for purchase of this item. I'll entertain a motion to approve this request.
So moved.
Second.
With a motion and a second to approve the request. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll introduce a request from CEC RBP Enterprises LLC DBA The Brick for a restaurant retail liquor license located at 847 Bowleville Circle, Suite 117, and call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for June 21st, 2022. We'll take no action on this tonight. I also introduce a request from Levels Bar and Grill LLC, doing business as Levels Bar and Grill for a lounge retail liquor Class 1 license located at 809 Delwell Avenue, and call for a public hearing to be held at the regular meeting scheduled for June 21st, 2022. No action tonight. We'll now consider some board appointments. So I'll call for nominations to the Enterprise Waterworks Board, Seat 1, for a 6-year term beginning July 1, 2022, and ending June 30th, 2028. So these nominations are now open. Do I hear any nominations?
Let's nominate Andy Shelton for Water Board Seat 1.
All right. Any additional nominations? Hearing none, I'll close nominations and accept a motion to nominate Andy Shelton to Water Board Seat 1.
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those approved say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now call for nominations to the Enterprise Waterworks Board Seat 4 for a 4-year term beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2026. These nominations are now open.
I'd like to nominate Mr. John L. Mitchell Jr. to the Water Board seat number 4.
All right. Are there any additional nominations? Hearing none, I'll close those nominations and entertain a motion to approve the nomination of John L. Mitchell Jr. for Seat 4 Water Board.
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll now call for nominations of the Enterprise Waterworks Board Seat 5 for a 6-year term beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2028. These nominations are now open. I'll accept any nominations.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Anthony Britt for Water Board Seat 5.
All right. Are there any other nominations for Water Board Seat 5? All right. Hearing none, nominations are now closed. I will entertain a motion to approve the nomination of Anthony Britt for Water Board Seat 5.
So move.
Second.
All right. A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll now introduce and call for consideration of requests from the Board of Directors of the Enterprise Healthcare Authority to approve the following nominations to the Healthcare Authority of the City of Enterprise. This nomination comes from the Healthcare Authority, not from the Council, so we just approve it or deny it. So you see here that the nomination is James H. Tarbox from January 4th, 2022 to January 3rd, 2027. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve their nominee.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the nominee of the Board of Directors of Enterprise Healthcare Authority, James H. Tarbox. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Mayor, you got a report for us?
Parks and Recreation. Regular baseball and softball season ended May 24th. All-star play began in June. Youth football and volleyball registration June 13th and July 29th. Tournaments and events. May 7th, festival in the fall for community success. May 14th, we hosted the ARPA State Track Field Meet. We had over 540 athletes. Enterprise athletes to win medals and Enterprise overall team champion. June 3rd and 4th, hosted All-Star Jamboree 20 teams. June 4th, hosted disc golf tournament 9 participants. 8 more participants live outside of Enterprise and 38 participants were from Florida Panhandle. June 9th through the 11th, Dixie Youth, 6 and under coach, district. June 11th, Alabama Sports Foundation State Game. We are the host of track and field, indoor air rifle, baton twirling, and grass volleyball. July 8th through the 11th, Dixie Youth, we did on the coach pitch baseball state tournament, 16 teams. July 15th through the 18th, Dixie Youth, baseball state tournament, 12 teams. Engineering department permits approved, single family detachment 11, 6,454,000. Residential addition 204,787. Commercial additions 3, 6,909,287. Neutral property 26. Verbal contact 6, mail 3, notification mail 26, properties without progress 24, properties mitigated 4, properties in progress 24, sent to the magistrate 2. Water department, there were 25 new construction water meter services installed in the month of May. The new bypass tank is about 90% complete. Should be advertised for water main replacement bids ahead of the servicing soon. Fire department, we had 11 professional certification roofing department. Hydrant floor testing in progress, expected to be completed by the end of June. Civic Center Farmers Market for the month of May. Farmers Market kickoff on May 14th. Very good turnout with farmers, vendors, and public. Watermelon Day at Farmers Market will be held on June 25th. We would also like to recognize Boy Scouts of America who are with us tonight. And I'd ask you all to stand and be recognized. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Rich?
Good to see everyone come out tonight. And glad to see our Boy Scouts here as usual. And thanks to our staff for all the many updates that we got in our work session. It definitely proves that they are doing their very best to keep us on task with our goals, and it's appreciated. Hey, Jeffrey.
I'd like to thank Barry for our updates on our project tonight. I think he did an excellent job. I'd like to remind everyone about the Military Appreciation Day on June the 18th from 10 till 4. The parade they'll have. Get your children, your grandchildren out to participate. They'll have a good time, and we'll get to recognize our military. Thank you for coming.
Mr. Padgett?
Also like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And yes, July 5th does look like it's going to be a very busy meeting. So we might want to order pizza or something for an executive session. I'm not real sure.
Or cookies.
But also like to thank the staff for everything you guys have been doing. Got a lot of work going on. Barry, thank you so much for the updates. Your departments are in full gear, it looks like. So thank you for that. And also, I know it's been talked about quite a bit here, but glad to see that you were able to get a Chief Davis that you were able to get a fire truck there for quite a savings and earlier than anticipated.
Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Scouts, thank you so very much for all you do helping around the community. I see a lot of your projects going on. Thank you to all those that are watching online to be part of their civic duty. And again, our staff, our city, our whole team is number one in Alabama and across the United States. I just couldn't be more pleased with all the projects and everything's going on. Like Sonia said, it really keeps us involved in meeting our goals. And that's what we're doing, not for us up here in any recognition, but for the community. That's why we do what we do. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank everybody for coming. Y'all are getting off easy tonight. 20 minutes in and out. Y'all need to come back on July 5th.
That's right.
Yeah.
Turner's
Earn
gonna-
that merit badge.
Turner's going to provide pizza for everybody.
We are adjourned.
That's true.
You never know when we come.
That one's going to be a long one.
Listen, they'll be in here by that one. We just leave.
You're welcome.
Yeah, those, I don't think that's going to make it very much longer. Try to stop with that, you know, before I get home.
There.
I think that's everything.